I'm filming all of this like leading up to it. It's like in the green room, the people that are walking out, like what it looks like behind it when you're walking out. And then I'm also filming like the actual part of it. And so this is the same thing for me. It's like if I'm going and speaking or if I'm going and doing anything, I'm filming just like the lead up to it. And then I film like the actual thing. That's it, bro. And this is all iPhone.
That is sick.
No text, like literally, dude, the edits take me a max of 7 minutes. No text, no music, no, like I'm not like chopping anything.
So it's very raw.
So raw. Yeah, I've been really enjoying it.
That's awesome.
Back to what we were just saying about the aesthetics, when I focus too much on like hacking or like perfecting, it just fucks me up. And I'm like, the thing that I enjoyed, I think one of the biggest reasons why I loved TikTok so much is because it eliminated all of that for me. Like I literally didn't care about the way anything, the only thing I cared about was if the material that I'm saying is, if you can hear it and it's of substance, I'm posting it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like Instagram has a lot more of like the aesthetic built into it. Yeah, it has a lot more of that built in it just naturally. And
So do you like creating more for TikTok and IG?
well, now I feel like Instagram is literally just TikTok. It's the same. Now I just feel like
cinematic content on Instagram.
For sure. But I also like even in the last week, I've been finding more and more people that are making content that looks like TikTok, like raw, like non-cinematic. I think and I feel like the way that it is for me is there's almost like pods. Like there's the super cinematic creators, and outside of that bubble, there's also these like literally like middle, like I don't want to say middle America, but like there's literally like these creators that are like coaches and strategists and all that are filming, and it looks like Facebook content, and it's like the most underproduced. So I think it's kind of like TikTok where it's like different things can win, and for me, I'm like I like doing the more non-polished shit because I can move faster.
Are you publishing any of this like long form YouTube to TikTok?
I haven't been.
They were like begging people to put up
Incentivizing people. Yeah, that's probably just like a time thing for me. Of me like I've barely been posting to TikTok.
I'd be curious to see what happens if you posted on Twitter as well.
Long form?
Because there was a heavy push too of like upload your podcast, upload your YouTube videos, upload all your long form content.
See, I haven't opened X one time in the last since we talked.
You're just not a Twitter guy.
I'm not.
You're just not a Twitter guy.
It's nothing against it. I just haven't. Even LinkedIn, like written for me, I go really hard on LinkedIn, which I was saying you should do too. I don't know if you are doing that. You should be. But even LinkedIn, it's like. Also, I actually don't enjoy scrolling right now. I like really am not enjoying. The only thing that I really like watching right now is YouTube.
I think a lot of people are going through that experience.
That's the only thing I enjoy right now.
I'm only creating for the platforms that I enjoy being on and consuming, and that right now for me that's Instagram and YouTube. And that's what's happening. Like I don't want to make shit for Twitter. I don't make shit Twitter. I just retweet your shit, and then TikTok.
You
not
tweeted
really.
yesterday.
Huh?
You tweeted yesterday.
Just for cut 30.
They had asked me to tweet.
Just for cut 30. That was first tweet in like 3 weeks.
I'm just keeping the record.
But it's true. And then LinkedIn, like same thing, dude.
Like for Twitter and LinkedIn, like that is a deal flow platform. And then I think for Instagram and YouTube, it's like audience downstream.
LinkedIn is less. I think more action comes from Twitter than LinkedIn. Like I go very hard on LinkedIn, and I will say I'm yet to see it turn into like, oh, this is like really building business for us the way TikTok or Instagram has.
Yeah. I was gonna say Instagram's got me more deal flow than Twitter. I got more recruited on Twitter for these founders that want me to work at their company. On Instagram, it's like we just signed with.
You do all of your content yourself? Like you're going and finding all of those clips and green screening and everything? How long does it take you to do one of those?
A long time, like 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah. What's the cadence that you're putting them out?
Right now, I haven't missed in like 30-some days.
You're putting a video out every day? With the clip? You're spending 2.5 hours on one of those videos every day? That's fucking unreal. That's so sick.
Bitch.
So I actually don't think you should use. I don't think you should post YouTube Shorts to the same accounts that you're trying to do long. I think if you're gonna do YouTube Shorts, I think you do a completely separate account.
I've heard that.
To me, there's just something about like the mindset of, I don't want people to follow me for my shorts. I want them to only follow for the long. And I think that a lot of the people that follow just for shorts, it's a different mindset. This is literally what I love about YouTube. It's like I'm going into YouTube to sit and digest someone's content that I'm intentionally watching, that like I want to see all of it. And I feel like it's a completely different mindset than I'm in with anything short form, that is just like almost like fast consumption, where I don't really even feel like I'm looking to digest anything. When I'm scrolling any short form right now, I don't feel like I'm looking for education. I feel like in 2021, when short form was like really like the wave of TikTok, when I was scrolling on TikTok or even Reels at the beginning, I was like genuinely watching, and like somebody was talking for a minute, I was listening to the whole minute. Right now, I feel like the only things that I really watch on short form is like sports, some news. It's like very quick. It's like very like, give me the thing that I need, move on. I'm like, so for like YouTube Shorts, I feel like I don't want people to consume super digestible. I would rather them just find my page for long, and it'd be like, that's the only reason that they're following me.
I'll add my 2 cents in something you think. So what if the shorts was the appetizer for the long form? Like it was the very, very short version of what the video is going to be about. So
like a teaser, or like the full thing summarized in a minute?
Almost like a part of it. Like if it's a 10-minute video, it's like, this is made for YouTube Shorts, but it's the 1-minute version. So like somebody that does this really well is Cleo Abram. Have you seen her?
Mm-mm.
Oh, you'd love her shit. So like
okay.
for YouTube
Cool.
Shorts, every YouTube short, or not every YouTube short, she'll tag the long form in the YouTube Shorts, and then she'll show the spike that's like, her video will be like this, the YouTube Short will pop off, and then the long form goes like this. So that's the one thing. The other thing is
okay, so wait, she's doing what she's doing is she's summarizing her video in a short,
or one part of it.
Yeah.
Like one interesting part of it, and we'll turn that into the YouTube Short and like link her long form, and it'll just take off. Somebody else that does that is Smart Nonsense, Henry Belfast.
I know that, yeah.
Yeah, they do the same thing. And then the other thing that I thought was interesting was Colin and Samir. They used to use YouTube Shorts as a testing ground for what they should make long form about. If they could get it to go viral as a YouTube Short, then they would make the long form video for it.
Interesting. So how are you splitting your time with doing all this? Like how are you balancing being a father with being a pro athlete, with being 2.5 hours doing a single Instagram reel?
Vanessa. Straight up. Like my day is very structured. Like from the minute I wake up to the minute I go to bed is like planned out on a calendar.
Like your calendar is booked full day.
Yeah, but like.
And you use a calendar to book the full day, or you're.
Use Google Calendar, yeah.
Got it.
So on my Google Calendar, from like the minute I wake up, it's like the title is literally like win the CrossFit Games. That's gray. Anything work related to blue. Anytime anything Zara related to pink, whatever the color that they have in there is. And then Vanessa, like her and I had a good conversation about. I was like, hey, I'm not getting younger, and if I do want to pursue this dream, then it means a lot to me to pursue this dream. Like, I just need you to know that I'm going to be very focused on these 2 things. And we had that conversation, and so she understands that, like, I'm obviously going to make time for her and Zara, but it is going to come at a sacrifice that I'm going to put a lot of time into the business and training for the games. During this time, too, where I'm not going to miss a soccer game, right? Because there is no soccer game.
Yeah. So you also have like a couple of years before it's like there's real activities that you can and want to be involved in.
Yeah, dude, right now it's like play in the room, right? And she's just crawling around everywhere, and you're kind of there, making sure she's not putting her hand in the outlet or like falling and hitting her head. It's not. I don't want to say it's not being a father, but it's not like you're not really teaching lessons right now, right? And so the way I'm navigating through it now is like she's handling most of that. She's being there for her, and then I'm there. I'm present. That's why she's also. It's nice because she's on the team, so she gets to be here, and Zara's here with. Anytime I'm at the office, Zara's at the office. Which is nice. So like I've also made my life so that she's always around me.
Yeah.
She trains at the same gym as me. Like Vanessa trains at CrossFit Car. We trained yesterday, and like the coaches were literally holding Zara while we were training.
That's so cool.
So like
Yeah.
we manufactured our life so that Zara's there all the time, which is like kind of what you were talking about. But
So what's your schedule? So you're waking up at 5:30 and you're training immediately, and then you're done at 8, and then what are you doing?
I'm working the rest of the day till 1:30, 1:30.
And that work is marketing examined, or that work?
Everything's marketing examined, yeah.
But what about content? Like, is that in that
That's part of
same?
marketing examined.
Okay, got it. So that's part of it too.
That's all part of marketing exam. So like my job right now on the marketing exam front is to build up these channels and to funnel everything down to the newsletter and the podcast so that we can monetize, and then also work on the product. So the productized service where like a business comes to us and we give them a growth playbook every month on like, hey, this is how you should be scaling from A to B to C, whatever. And then the other side that we're launching, or the other thing we're launching is Content Cafe, which is like the idea of all the good conversations that you have over coffee, taking that and putting it, like making it the core of the community so that head of content marketers could collaborate with creators, and it could just be a place where they could talk, chat, collaborate, connect, create.
Is this a real cafe?
No, it's digital right now. I do have the aspiration of like,
That's fucking awesome.
like an Ame cafe kind of vibe.
So
But
cool.
That's more long term.
Mhm.
And then the newsletters and the podcast, but everything I'm doing funnels down to that. So a lot of what I'm doing right now is like, people also don't know marketing exam exists. I've done a bad job of building myself up and then not communicating like, hey, this is what we're doing. Like, this is a successful company. Like, we have hundreds of thousands of subs. Like, nobody knows that.
Mhm.
They just know me. And so like, that's the thing I'm trying to create now is that, yes, widen that net so I can funnel down to the business.
How are you enjoying newsletter versus visual content?
I've always been visual. The way I got into marketing was via visual. So like, I've had a camera since, when I told you I moved to Texas, I first got into videography and photography. And I started this little agency called Social First, and I did a bunch of content for brands here in Austin. That's first how I got into marketing. Then I hated the agency part of it. So I joined startups to understand how to build a media company. So I joined Hustle. Gumroad wasn't that, but then I joined the Collective CMO, built a media arm there. And then it was like marketing exam was getting built up on the side. And then when it was at a point where it was like it was making enough money, and I transitioned out of everything else just to go in on this. But I'm all visual. I like writing. I'm a good writer, but I'd rather have beautiful cinematics. So I'm trying to convince you to get an NP.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, and then I'm sure you're like this. There's just so much shit I want to do too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a apparel brand I wanted to start for 5 years that I wanted to do on the weekends, but it's just like it feels like I have no time. I'm trying to figure out where to make more time, but.
Okay, so you're done. You're done with work at what time?
10, 11.
Okay, so you're working from 8 to 10.
No, I meant like PM, like 10, 11 PM. It's like
Yeah. So I mean 8 a.m. You were saying you do this until 1.
Yeah.
Then
I'll
when
do like another 30 to 45 minute like mini session where I'm either doing skill work. So like for CrossFit, that's work on the rings. Like that could be working on the rings, gymnastics movement, things that isn't like, it's not very taxing, but you need to learn it. Yesterday, that's what I had. Then I'm back working until 5:30. 5:30 to 7:30 is my next training session. And that I spend an hour with Zara, like in her room, hanging out, playing, eating, whatever. And then I finish off the night with like whatever I need to do, go to bed, repeat.
Wow. How's energy throughout the week?
Low. Low. It's just like neutral.
Yeah.
It's neutral.
Dude, that's unbelievable. Like even if you weren't doing the business or the family, just the athletics that you're doing of training 3 times a day, or even if that's one day 3, then the next 1, that's already insane in itself. Doing that plus a business plus being a family is crazy. It's inspiring. No, it's awesome. I say crazy like crazy cool.
Thank you.
It's fucking dope.
The person I admire the most relative to this is Kobe. Like Kobe didn't care about an outside life, and I really don't care about going and doing things. I get no FOMO when I see people doing things. Like I have this one North Star, or like a few North Stars, like with family and what I want to achieve, and like everything's just going towards that North Star. And so everything I do in life is how can I be a better entrepreneur, dad, or CrossFit athlete, or whatever. And if it doesn't align with that or even answer that or help get me there, then
It's not worth
I
it.
don't care. Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think the thing I've been thinking about a lot is like, I'd rather live with the idea of I tried than what if.
For sure.
And really stuck on. It's like, because even my parents, I'm very tight with my parents, like you are too. Is like, they tell me now, why are you training them? You have Zara, you have the business, you have Vanessa. Like, chill out on training and don't try to focus on it. I'm like, what if I did die? And I heard this from somebody else, but it was like, what if I did die and you get to God and God's like, you were supposed to do this.
Yeah, here's what you could have done.
Yeah,
Yeah.
What you could have done.
Mm-hmm.
I had you doing this and this. You didn't do it because you chose not to.
Yeah.
And I do not want to have that feeling. I feel like I was given all the tangibles to like compete at that level, and I failed the first time, which was the NFL. Cool, fine. Make plan B bigger.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like if you were gonna make it to the NFL, you may have just been a backup running back. Go to the CrossFit Games, win the CrossFit Games. That's a better story. So I work out solo most of the time. What I am noticing though is like it is nice to live sometimes with people that are competing for the games so that you see where you're at. I'd rather again be in my own space because it's more of a mental battle. If you like go through 3 CrossFit workouts and you're in your garage and you're exhausted, dude, the mental battles that you go through, like the mental conversations you have with yourself, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
They're so bad, but they fucking toughen you up. So like there's that aspect of it, but I've been doing a few classes at CrossFit Cargo just to see like where I align with some of these athletes.
How far out is the games?
So there's one coming up in August. I'm not doing that. I will do the next one. But the other part that I want to do that like I think I'm fascinated by with the CrossFit Games is nobody's ever gone to the CrossFit Games and like transcended the sport. Whereas like, for example, you have Michael Jordan who transcended the sport. Now there's other players that are doing it like Steph Curry, Kobe, etc. Or Kobe did. You look at football and there's obviously a lot of players. The one that sticks out to me is Odell Beckham.
Mm-hmm.
He transcended the sport and became a bigger personality than nearly everybody outside the sport. I want to do that for CrossFit, where it's like nobody really knows the sport unless you're in that world.
Yeah.
Like, how do you become a bigger personality than the sport? And that's not me being like some like a piece of shit in any ways. It's more so, how do you leverage that to build something else? Because I think the sport is rooted in a lot of like boringness, and nobody's brought like that flavor or like that style to that sport.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like basketball and football, they have like hip hop and culture integrated into the sport. CrossFit doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a bunch of, I don't want to say rednecks, but it's like a bunch of like that crowd. There's
Mm-hmm.
a reason it was in Wisconsin. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
There's a reason it was in Wisconsin. So kind of bringing that style to it, and that's the same shit that like I want to do with marketing exam. It's like it's to turn learning into a lifestyle. Like learning is fun, but nobody's ever taken learning and like educational content and made it cool.
Yep.
It's always been very boring. And so you could add the streetwear that you and I like, or like the songs that you and I like, and like that culture into business content, and like make it feel like an Ame or make it feel like a Represent. That's a big opportunity, and that's a cool thing to do, like to actually make learning a lifestyle. So
Awesome, bro. I also think people need to see you doing this as a dad. Like I also think that's such a, especially because you enjoy it. Like I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that don't really care about that kind of like purpose.
yeah.
And I think the fact that you actually like really feel like it's something that feels purposeful for you, doing all of this while balancing that is so needed.
So I'll tell you the thing that's completely shifted my mind when Zara was born, and that was looking at everything I'm doing through the frame of, is this an example for Zara?
That's how you post this. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
It was like, because it's happened to me. Before Zara, you'd be super gassed in the gym, or you'd be super gassed when you're working, and you're like, I need to go to bed, or I'm skipping this rep, set, whatever, and you would skip it. Now that Zara's born, I literally pretend like, if she is in the garage with me and she's watching me, do I want her seeing me skip a set, or ending, if I'm running a 400 meter repeats, do I stop at 390 meters and then walk the last 10 meters? Because like that's what most people do. Like that is a terrible example. And that's like not me molding like a little warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And that has completely shifted all of it for me. And what it's gotten is you'll obviously have the reframe, and then you'll get the momentum of, okay, no, I would never want her to see that as an example, and then you go, and then it literally is like snowballs. Where now you're just building a new capacity of your mind you didn't have before.
Yeah.
Because before you like allowed yourself to kind of buy into 2 sets is fine. We'll hit 3 sets next week, right? And now you're like, I have to hit 3 sets, and then next week you're really hitting 4. So like, you're really just building yourself a lot faster by having that reframe.
That's so cool.
But no, she's been.
Bro, I think that's something you should talk about more.
Like the dad.
For sure. Because it ties into, because like those 3 pillars are like you know, dad, athlete, entrepreneur. And I think they all complement each other. So I think like you talking about like how Zara has changed the way that you want to be an athlete or the way that you want to be an entrepreneur. I think that's something that it's like a different flavor of the entree that like people get from you that I think rounds it out even more. It gets people to know you more, because at the end of the day, like with the vlog and all of the stuff that you're doing, like even with the documenting of the CrossFit stuff, like you want people to buy it. You're getting people to buy into you. Yeah. Because then they care about the CrossFit, which gets them to care about marketing, which gets them to care about like just you as a human being. And I think that you sharing that, the things that like even like as much as you care about sharing with like relationship and like the time, how you're like, I'm able to do this because she's taking things off of my plate. I think that kind of stuff like rounds out the like persona that people buy into. Something that I think you should share more about.
I will. I think it's figuring out how to do it, and I think what you're doing right now is the best way of doing it. Where I think about how do I make this beautiful story, cinematic, and then like nothing happens with it. Like I got 3 Google Drives full of probably 5 to 8 terabytes of unused shit that has never seen the light of day because of that. Versus now it's like, or I have to have that reframe of just ship it. It'll get better maybe in 6 months.
These conversations are really helpful for me because I balance looking at and understanding where culture and consumerism is, because this is what I do as a business, is help people understand that as well. I balance that with what do I actually enjoy and what do I want to be doing myself. And I know what I actually enjoy is the most low production, like just purely from the heart and no like stylistic shit at all. But when other people are caring more about the cinema and things like that, it's easy for me to be like, let me try that and like let me dive into that. But what I was just saying to you is like, if there was nobody watching and it was just purely for myself, I was just asking you, what would you still do it super cinematically? And you were like, absolutely, that's like what I care about. To me, I'm like, if no one was watching what I was just doing for me, I literally would film 100% of my day on this with the least amount of production, and it would just be like raw. So that for me is what I know that I need to lean into more, and like I have to figure out a way how to make that work for me, because long term in my life, that's what I want to be doing.